going on, everybody? At it again. This time, 2004 Pontiac Grand Prix GTP, which means it's got the supercharged 3800 V6 in it. Friend of mine bought this car for their teenage daughter. She's getting ready to get her permit, so this is going to be her first car. We gave it a good look over the other day. We know it needs front wheel bearings, a tune-up, an EGR valve, and we've got some issues going on with the radiator. You see the radiator hose sticking up here. The other day when she dropped this car off for me, as she was getting ready to turn in our driveway, she heard a loud pop and smelled antifreeze, and it had blown that hose off of the radiator. That hose had already been replaced before she bought the car, so it's hard to say. Maybe they left the clamp loose or something like that. So we're going to do several videos on this car, one of kind of the tune-up. We're going to change the plugs. We're going to clean the throttle body and check the air filter, clean the mass airflow, stuff like that. Then we'll do another video on the wheel bearings and the sway bar links. So I'm going to start with the tune-up. Got two of the plugs out already on the front bank of the engine. You can see how bad those are wore out there. I'm trying to zoom in but stay out of the light for you. Obviously, the plug on the right is the old plug that came out. The plug on the left's the new. If you compare the gap there between the ground strap and the center electrode, you can see just how bad these plugs were wore out. They are auto lights, so they did not come factory in this car. They've been changed at least once, which, you know, we kind of knew anyway. It's got 188,000 miles on it, so, you know, obviously they've been changed at least once, but these have been in there for quite a while. I'm trying to get y'all in here where you can kind of see what's going on. If you've watched the channel very much, you know I'm still kind of pretty new to this YouTube stuff or making videos for people. Trying to figure out kind of what people would want to see. Do you want to watch me work on something? Do you just want to, surely you don't want to just listen to me talk. You know, some of the videos I've done already, I just kind of talk about what I'm doing and then show just a few, you know, things here and there along the way. Don't really have you watch me step by step kind of a thing. So I'd appreciate it if you guys would kind of leave me some comments as to, you know, what you think, what you want to see, what kind of stuff you're interested in. I know there's a lot of YouTube mechanics already out there, and each one of them do a little bit different stuff. If I could get this light to stay somewhere where I can see, that'd sure be handy. Anyway, just let me know what you want me to do, what you want to see. I'm a mechanic by trade. I have been all my life, so that's kind of, you know, where we need to stay. But I'm saying, do you want to see just general repairs and stuff like I'm doing here? I've got a couple of older vehicles you've probably seen on the channel. I've got a 1966 AMC Rambler that we've done some work to in the past. None of it's on video yet, but several years ago when I first got the car, it had some issues. It had been sitting a long time, so did a little bit of a swap on the drivetrain and all that kind of stuff. The car needs a little maintenance now. It's been sitting all winter. I take it to car shows and cruises and things like that around the local area here. Just kind of guys with old cars get together and park in a, you know, store parking lot somewhere, and then other people passing by see it and stop and take a look. But anyway, I've got that. I've also got the 75 Dodge Power Wagon. I'm sure you've seen it on the channel. It needs a little bit of work. It's got some brake issues right now. So plenty of that kind of stuff to do. I'm trying to make content as quick as I can. If you've watched any other videos, you'll know that this channel started as a auto repair shop, or I owned an auto repair shop when the channel started. I shut that down here, I don't know, it's probably been 2 months ago now at the time I'm filming this. Trying to get this spark plug wire off of here. It's always a good idea to twist the boot back and forth until it loosens up. Kind of breaks that bond. That'll keep you from pulling the end of the spark plug wire out of the boot. These little silver things are heat shields that GM puts around them since they go right past the manifold. Anyway, we're going to do another video on all that so we can edit all that stuff out of there. But the moral of the story being, I closed the repair shop down and moved into this shop just to kind of do stuff, part-time on the side, friends and family kind of a thing. So that's what we're doing now, semi-retired, I guess you could call it. We've got updates, folks. So all 6 spark plugs are done now. Those 2 are probably the worst ones out of the group, but they're all bad. Kind of those 2 on the outside don't look quite as bad as the other 4, 3 or 4, but they were bad. All of them's auto lights, so they've all been changed at some point. Sometimes you'll run into a situation where one of them's extra hard to get to, like some of the forwards, the 4.6s and the 5.4s, where the rear plugs are way back under the cowl in here, and just kind of a pain to get to. People just leave them in there instead of fighting to change them. Anyway, we got all 6 plugs done. Moving on to the throttle body now. I pulled it off. It is pretty dirty in here, so we're going to take some cleaner and clean all that up. It'll get it idling good. The important part is here where the throttle plate meets the body, because the computer knows how far to open the throttle plate to get a certain amount of airflow through that gap right there. Well, if you've got all this carbon buildup, it's not getting as much airflow. The calculation's off, because that carbon is actually blocking some of the path that the air should be taken. So we're going to clean that up. The mass airflow sensor here, we're going to take that apart. We're going to take the boots off of it so we can clean the mass airflow out. I think that will pretty much get us done under the hood. Okay, folks, so cleaning this thing up, not really rocket surgery. I do it in a plastic tub, just keep all the junk there, where it's not getting sprayed all over the bench. You can use carb cleaner. It says here on the back for throttle bodies and PCV valves. There's several different kinds of cleaners you can use for this. You can use carb cleaner. You can use some sort of cleaning, other intake cleaner like the Seafoam here. We'll probably actually use this stuff first and then use the carb cleaner if we need to. But there's all kinds of different stuff that you can use for it. Pretty much it's all the same type of procedure. Usually I'll just kind of rub my finger around in it for a minute to kind of get the big chunks out. You can see the stuff dropping out of it there. There's no sense wasting cleaner on something that we could get off with our finger. I use gloves because... Okay, so the big question, why do I use gloves? Well, it looks like my microphone battery died right about this point because we lose all the audio. So what I'm saying about the gloves is that some cleaners like brake cleaner and carb cleaner can give you a chemical burn on your skin. Usually just spraying it over your fingers or whatever doesn't hurt, but like if you're wearing a metal wedding ring or any kind of wedding ring or a watch band, that stuff will get between your ring or your watch and your skin, and as it lays there, you'll actually start getting a chemical burn. So a lot of times I'll wear gloves just so I don't have to take my ring or anything off, and so that I don't get that chemical burn. You want to use a soft brush when you're cleaning the throttle body. This is sort of like a toothbrush. Plastic bristles, pretty soft. I buy these brushes in a 3-pack. There's one plastic one brass brush, and one steel brush or stainless steel, something along those lines. But it's a pretty easy process. You just spray the cleaner on the throttle body, let it soak for however long it recommends, and then just kind of start lightly brushing. The carbon's pretty soft stuff. It's kind of gooey, but it breaks down pretty quick, and you can see there as I'm brushing that it's starting to smear it around quite a bit. So it's already starting to take some of it off of there. The Seafoam stuff that I'm using isn't really the strongest stuff you can find. Amsoil makes a good product. I think it's called uh, Amsoil makes a pretty good product. I think it's called Power Shot, Power Foam, something. Power Foam, I think it is. Amsoil makes a pretty good product. Power Foam, I think, is what it's called. But you spray it on there, it turns to foam, kind of like shaving cream almost, and you just let it sit for a few minutes and then start brushing on it like I'm doing here in the video, and it comes right off of there. This stuff's going to come pretty clean here eventually, you'll see. But we're going to speed the video up here for a minute. As I said, nothing really to pay attention to here other than don't use anything stiff bristled. Use a soft bristled brush. Don't get in there with sandpaper, Scotch-Brite pads, or anything like that. Just keep doing this process here that you're watching, and you'll see the results here in a minute. So we're going to speed the video. Okay, so I think we're getting pretty close to being done here. It's a whole lot better than it was. I think I show the throttle blade to the camera here in a second, but we got the vast majority of stuff out of there. You can see how dirty the cleaner in that plastic tub is. Yeah, there you can kind of see that it cleans up nice and shiny, just a little elbow grease, and you can get all that carbon and stuff out of there. Here I'm showing the gloves. See how they're kind of deteriorating from the cleaner. They kind of swell, I guess you could say, and get real loose and baggy. Makes them a lot easier to rip. But if nothing else, you keep a lot of that stuff off your hands. So yeah, so there's the finished product. Nice and clean, looks brand new inside. So that's all there is to it. Just takes a little time, a little elbow grease. Get you some cleaner, go after it with a soft bristled brush, and that's all it takes. Okay, guys and gals, we put the radiator hose back on the radiator. When you go to fill up the system, you need to open that bleed screw right there. So that's kind of a two-part screw. Let me see if I can get in here a little bit closer where you can see what's happening. So the top of it is what you loosen. I'm going to see if I can get my fingers in here to do it. All right, so I've already loosened it off camera, but that's the part that I'm turning is what you want to loosen. Leave this part alone where it goes into the thermostat housing. You don't have to touch that. Just loosen this top screw. Then you can start filling the system, and air will come out of that bleeder while you're filling it. So fill, and then just kind of keep an eye on this, and when you see kind of a steady stream, it's got a little hole in the side of it that we can't see from this angle. But when fluid starts kind of streaming out of there, you can close this bleeder valve and then go ahead and fill your system the rest of the way. If you do not do this, the car will overheat almost immediately when you start it. It traps such a big air bubble inside the system without this bleeder open that it will definitely overheat, no question about it. So I'm going to go ahead and fill up the cooling system now. We've got everything back together from the tune-up. Did the plugs. We took the throttle body off, cleaned it, cleaned the mass airflow sensor. So we went ahead and got our EGR valve replaced. That was really simple. One wire connector and then two nuts, and that baby pops right off of there. So that's done. We're going to fill up the cooling system, run the engine for a few minutes to make sure we're good there, and then we're going to start on the wheel bearings. That will be in a separate video. All right, we got the cooling system topped off. No leaks. Heater works good. The thermostat open, so we're good there. Tune-up's done. So now, like I keep saying, we're moving on to the wheel bearings. That'll be in another video. If you want to see that, just take a look at the playlist and you'll find it, I'm sure. So I appreciate you watching. Please like the video if you liked it. Click like. Leave us comments on what we can do better, or what you'd like to see on the channel, or what you liked about the channel. Subscribe for us, and I appreciate it very much. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.